All right, guys, welcome back to the Window Cleaning Millionaire podcast. I'm trying something new. I've got a guest on our podcast here, so super excited. I'm going to start doing this hopefully once or twice a week, just bringing on like industry experts and just people in general who have some wisdom to share with us. So I've got Jon Karmazyn. Is that how you say your last name, Jon?
Yep, you nailed it.
Karmazyn and I'm just going to read his bio real quick, and then I'm going to let him kind of introduce himself and talk a little bit about himself. So. Jon had his assistant send me that says Jon started Revive while swimming in 163K of personal debt, because why not start a business when everything feels upside down? 2 years later, the debt was paid off, business took off. Today, Revive is thriving in 2 Pennsylvania markets with power washing and holiday lighting crews, and Jon's no longer in the daily grind. These days, he's all about helping other business owners build something that actually supports their family, fuels their passion, fits their values without losing their sanity or their Saturdays. Love that part about the Saturdays. Can't tell you how many times I'm sure you can relate, just like working every Saturday and putting out flyers or whatever. Yeah, tell me a little bit more about just like your origin and starting Revive and just who you are.
Yeah, so my background originally before starting the company is in the construction world. I actually have my degree in construction management, and I worked for a great family-run company, pretty large size construction company. They were all commercial, but they were transitioning into their 3rd generation. They had on average, about 200 to 220 employees. They were doing about 200 to 300 million a year in revenue. So it was like a really good foundation for me to kind of learn a lot of the business stuff that I didn't really plan on using, because at the time when I was there, I wasn't planning on starting my own business. I thought that was where I was going to stay and I was going to make my career there. But 2008, 2009 housing crisis hit, and all the residential contractors fled to the commercial space, and the bottom fell out. All our margins just disappeared overnight, basically. And I went from being a construction manager to a contract negotiator, and it was exhausting, and I didn't want to spend the next 35 years doing this. So I always had kind of an entrepreneurial spirit, and one day, one of the guys I work with had an old pressure washer in his shed he was looking to get rid of. Brought it in and said, "Here, if you can fix it, you can have it." I said, "Okay, great," because I need to pressure wash the side of my house. Figured out on YouTube, 5 minutes later, got the thing running and started washing the side of my house. It was enjoyable and satisfying. So I'm like, okay, what else can I pressure wash? Just like what everybody does when they first get your hands on a pressure washer. What else can I do? So I went around back, started pressure washing our deck. About halfway through it, the machine just blew up, started spewing oil, smoking all over the place. So that thing was toast. There was no saving that. So this is back in like summer of 2012, and I jumped in on Craigslist to kind of figure out what I'm like. Okay, I need another pressure washer to finish the job here. As I'm scrolling through the listings, I see somebody posted a commercial pressure washing truck for sale, and will train you how to start your own business. And that was the light bulb for me. It wasn't even on my radar that pressure washing was like a business and people would pay other people to do what I just did to my house. So that was kind of my light bulb moment. And from there, we did a little bit of research, talked to my wife, had some ideas. I obviously talked with the guy, learned a bit about his business, how long he's been doing it, and kind of what the opportunity is. And probably 2 to 3 months later, we got a SBA loan through our local bank, and I bought the truck. Had a friend help me get a website up and running, and got a Google listing up, and got some insurance, and we were in business.
Awesome. I know you said that you started with a bunch of like just personal debt. Did you come in with much of like a nest egg, or it was pretty much just like that SBA loan funded your life? Like what did that look like?
It was a negative nest egg. It was my nest egg was cracked and scrambled many times over and burned, and it was awful. We were in a really bad financial spot, and the SBA loan was just kind of piled onto that debt. But we saw way more upside potential with what we could do with the business than just sticking out my 9-to-5 job. And it wasn't really, the debt side of it, it wasn't really until about maybe 3 years into our business that we really took it seriously and said, okay, we need to fix this debt issue.
Yeah.
And that's when we really put our heads down. And that's when that 2-year period actually really began. So it was by year 5 that we were clear, and that was kind of our reset.
Awesome. So it sounds like your wife was very supportive of starting the business, even though the issues were there. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah,
I don't think that this is talked about enough, the importance of supportive spouse. And
yes, 100%. She's been great from day one. Supporting some of my crazy ideas and getting behind me, even though it's kind of I don't know if this is the right idea or not. But she supported me, and she called me out when I was going a little too far too. There were times where I'm willing to bet the farm, and she's like, no, we got 2 little kids at home here. Let's pump the brakes on this a little bit. Her judgment has been pretty much impeccable for our entire relationship. So, but yeah, I still remember when I left my full-time job, because I started the first maybe 8 months, I was kind of split. I was doing the business kind of on the side. Mm-hmm. And then my last, it was a Friday in the office, and the manager, the construction company, came into my office and said, all right, well, I think we've got pretty much all your projects transitioned over. I think next Friday is probably your last day here. Does that sound okay? And I was not prepared. That was my safety net. So I still remember we had our daughter's birthday parties at Chick-fil-A, and I remember walking in, seeing my wife and my kids there, and I told my wife, I said, well, next Friday is my last day, and we're going all in. And she just looked me in the eyes, and she's like, okay, let's do it. And that was the confidence I needed to okay, we're gonna make this work.
Awesome. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. My wife was pivotal, and I think a little bit about my story, starting in a small town, moving to Phoenix, and it was you may have been on this, I don't know, a while back. Josh did the Close the Gap challenge. This was probably 2016, 2018, 2019, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And he taught that portion of how big your business can get in your service area, and I ran the metrics, and I was like, this isn't going to work. What I want out of this business is not going to work in my small hometown. And then that night, my wife got home from work, and I was like, hey, we have to move. I just felt it just deep in my bosom that we had to move. And it was it's funny, this was a Tuesday. That Friday we went and looked at houses to rent, and we moved the next Tuesday. It was just super fast. But looking back on it now, she could have easily just been window cleaning, that's probably not going to work out. We probably shouldn't do that. But she was just all in. She didn't like her job anyways, and we just did it. So I don't think it's talked about enough, the importance of just having that supportive spouse, and just something I'm super grateful for. The plan was actually for her to get a job to kind of help us get started. We didn't know when we moved that she was pregnant though. So then
oh man,
too pregnant to help with the business a few months in, and too pregnant to go get a job. So for me, I'm grateful for it, because it was okay, now I got a baby coming, I got to figure this out. So
yeah, burn the ship sort of situation.
Yeah, so it worked out for me. I'm grateful for it, but yeah, I don't think that's talked about enough. Just the importance of the supportive spouse, and obviously it can be done without it, but it just makes everything a lot easier. So tell me, starting out. Sorry, go ahead.
I would say the inverse of that too, Ryan, is if you have a spouse that's not on board, that makes it so much harder. It really does. I could not imagine not just that if she was impartial, just whatever, you do your thing, but if she was always against this is too risky, we can't do this sort of conversations, that's really tough. That's a tough spot to be in. So yeah,
but I know this doesn't work for every marriage, but for us, my wife doesn't really know too much about like where business money goes or like what we're doing with the business a ton. Like she knows, but she doesn't really care that much. And for me, it's allowed me to like be able to make quick decisions and like just have her trust in me that I'm making good decisions. Obviously, I'll go to her for like big money decisions, but I just feel like there's a lot of value in that. So anyways, tell me about starting the business. Like what did you do to get your first few customers? Like what did those early days look like acquiring customers? Sounds like you didn't know that the firing was coming or the laid off or whatever you want to call it. So you probably had to figure it out pretty quickly. What did your days look like?
It was a lot of just boots on the ground, just grinding out there. Trying to get scrappy, I guess, and creative. I remember still back then going to, it was either like Office Depot or Staples or something like that, and getting a couple reams of like neon colored paper and just printing like these really embarrassing looking flyers on our home printer. And I would just find some good neighborhoods and just drive around and pop these little flyers in people's newspaper slots. And that's how I got our first customer, actually. I still remember I was at a job site with the construction company, and over lunch I got a phone call, and I didn't recognize the number. I answered it, and it was this guy calling. He was interested in having his roof cleaned, and I was like, stuttering, and like I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to collect his information. Like I didn't know what to do. It was the first time I ever had somebody call me and express some interest. So. But at the same time, it was super exciting because it was, when I hung up, I was like, holy cow, this is going to work. Like, I knew right then, like, this is going to work. So it was super exciting. And, so honestly, I kept doing that. I got some yard signs printed up, and we'd do the whole yard sign thing, asking people for referrals, and started the whole review thing back then, just making sure. I knew reviews were going to be super critical, so we started building those up, and that was, we started early on. I think the other thing we did too back then was I made a lot of content on YouTube, and would just get out there, so that would help us with SEO. I still remember like probably our third year in. We landed a big HOA complex because the guy saw our YouTube video, and
that's awesome.
It was like,
you were just going like day to day, or like what did the content look like?
Yeah, just like I think it was on like Drive It and stucco cleaning. Like I was kind of explaining, the soft wash method and like why it's important to do this use that on stucco and Drive It, and like what the difference is between stucco and Drive It. I was using a little bit of my construction background and kind of educating people, so it was more of an educational piece. But when I met with the HOA president, he referenced that, and he's like, I knew immediately, like, you're the guy that we can trust because the way you explained it was great. And so, yeah, I did leverage YouTube a lot. This was before, like, being a YouTuber was even really a thing, I guess. I don't know. This was, 13 years ago. Things just have changed quite a bit over the years, but and honestly, I think that's probably those are probably the key things that really kind of launched us. There wasn't a ton of competition in our area. There's probably 3 or 4 other companies, but no, like, I wouldn't say there was like a Goliath that I was going up against. There was a couple guys that have been around for a while, but they were, marginal, like 1-2 truck operations. Maybe one guy had 3 trucks. So it wasn't like I felt like my competition was too hard to take down. And I just kind of put my head down, and slow and steady over the years, it grew.
Awesome. Yeah, when I moved here, there wasn't really any big companies. It's funny though, looking back now, like the companies that I thought were big are like really small companies now, right? But at the time, you see a company like, oh, they got 2 or 3 trucks, like, wow, they're killing it. But they're probably honestly struggling. Like that's a tough place to be in business. I'm sure that you felt that, or you've seen that. Like being in that 20 to 30K per month range is tough. Like it's, margins are thin, and you're trying to grow, and there's not a lot left over for you to take home. So anyways, it's just funny how that perspective changes. You probably had a little bit of a different perspective just with the company you had come from. I started, didn't ever really have a job. I was 20 years old and didn't really know what was possible, which is why I'm grateful to have met like mentors and people. I was thinking back when you were talking about the flyers that, because that's like typically the first thing I give people in my coaching group that are below like 10K a month is like, got to do flyers and we got to do them the specific way and we got to hit the same neighborhoods over and over. It's funny if you knew now if you knew then what you know now, you would have made those flyers a lot better. You probably would have had an offer on them. You would have had more strategy to it. Tell me a little bit about that, and just like, if you knew then what you know now, how you could go a lot faster. And I kind of want to get into the topic of like mentorship and the importance of it. But yeah, just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think, man, it's just knowing what I know now, over the collective 13 years I've been doing this, or at least, on my own. And I've learned over the 13 years, the first 5 were kind of like, I was riding the struggle bus pretty hard, and the struggle bus was kind of missing a wheel or so. Like, it was really tough. And then, you had mentioned mentors, got around a few people, met some people, and they kind of showed me what's really possible. Seeing, the Brandon Vaughn, the Josh Latimers, seeing that, oh my word, like, somebody can really grow this business to the point where it's marketable and somebody else wants to buy it. That's amazing. And, some of these other companies that have been, guys that I've met over the years that have been doing it for 18, 20 years and, doing multi-million dollars a year, like, and they're taking like the entire winter off. Like, they just don't do anything. And I'm like, oh man. So it just expanded my mind and the possibilities of what we could do in the business. Because it's kind of Roger Bannister kind of, mentality of, once you see somebody else do it, then why is there a reason why you can't do it? The 4-minute mile Roger Bannister thing, once he did it, man, a whole bunch of other people the next year went ahead and did it. And up to that point, everybody said it was not possible. So, I think so looking back on it, it's hard to say, because I don't like to lament on the past, if you will, and be like, oh man, if only. We learn lessons from the past, but I don't like to kind of sit there and think, oh man, if I would have done that, we would have been here. Because the past is the past. We have to learn the lessons from it that hopefully, we were intended to learn from it. But yeah, I mean, just like anything, if you think about it, way more now. You could go a lot faster if you had to start all over again. But on the same token, there's different challenges now than there were when I started 13 years ago. I think competition, because of YouTube, I was talking about YouTube, and social media, guys are out there talking about how easy it is to start a window cleaning and a pressure washing business, and you can make, $500,000 a year profit, like, and not have to do anything. They're glorifying it.
Yep.
And they're leaving out all the messy stuff. So there's a lot of new people flooding into the industry. They don't know what they're doing. They're undercharging. So, not that they're stealing our customers necessarily, but there's definitely a little bit of resistance out there. And if you have enough of those people in flux in your market, you're going to feel a little bit of it. It's not going to take you out of business by any means, but it's definitely going to impact you a little bit in your market, and maybe especially when the economy tightens a little bit and people start shopping around a little bit more, because, it's definitely a possibility. But all that being said, it's a lesson that you need to learn from. So it forces you and me to be sharper and better and improve, because, the one thing I kind of, looking back on, there were definitely some years where I kind of just sat back and sort of was like, hey, we got this. We're the biggest. We're good. We got this figured out. We just kind of sat back, and we still did fine, but we weren't maybe innovating and being creative with our marketing, and we just kind of said, hey, our marketing's working good, let's just not touch it. And that actually hurt us in the long run, because we kind of just got complacent. So I think just, from my experience, it's like there hasn't been a point where I thought, okay, we've got it all figured out. We just push the cruise control button and sit back and everything's good. Like, things are constantly changing. The way the market's changed, the way people are buying change, especially with the advancement in technology and AI and all that stuff now. It's like Amazon. I mean, people's expectations of how quickly they can get service and get answers and stuff. It's evolving, and if you just sit back and don't change, you're going to be a dinosaur, and you're going to die.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the competitive advantages that your company has, that my company has, is when we get into our busy season. For us, it's like spring and fall. Fall's like crazy for us with lights and cleaning. Other companies can't get to people quickly. Like they get booked out a week or two, and we've got 7 cleaning trucks out, so we can get to them the next couple days, which is stressful to like always be only booking a couple days out, but it also gives you that competitive advantage. And you talked a little bit about like just marketing early, and what I'd be curious, like, what does your marketing strategy look like today? Like, what are your main levers? Also, what revenue did Revive do last year? Like, what kind of, where are you at?
$2 million last year.
You did 2? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, awesome. It's huge. That's my goal, is to get there quickly. So hopefully we'll do that this year or next. So
yeah, you guys are killing it. So, but yeah, our marketing levers, main ones that work well for us. Yard signs are huge for us. Those still work very well for us. Door hangers.
Do you mind if I ask where are you putting those? Just for the listeners. Question I get a lot is just like where are we putting them? How are we avoiding like the towns that get mad about it, things like that?
I mean, it's definitely a challenge. I mean, the main town that our office is in, they give us grief a lot. But we actually went as far as calling them and saying, because they were starting to pull them from our customers' properties. Like, we did a couple commercial customers that are on a main road. We put them out in front with the customer's permission, and they said, yeah, you can actually leave them out there for like 2 weeks and it'll be fine. And we drove by the next day and they were gone. So we called the township and we're like, hey, we had permission from the property owner. And they gave us this whole spiel. Well, if it's in the if it's within 5 to 20 feet from the edge of the road, that's technically the township right of way, and we can pull them. So it was like, okay, like, you're going to be splitting hairs here, really? But so that, look, there might be townships that are a pain in the butt and they're just like enforce it like crazy. You got to work around it. You got to get creative. You got to figure things out. So 100% in the customer's yard, every job. When the guys get there, they pop the sign in and we leave it. Unless the customer says, hey, I'm in an HOA, we don't allow signs. I need you to take that with you when you leave. We understand, we want to be respectful of that. We don't want the customer getting a fine because they left the sign up. That's not cool either. So, but we hit the high traffic areas. So we have to stop and get fuel every day for the trucks. Stop at the gas station. We put them, usually gas stations are on a busy intersection or a corner. We pop them out in corners. If you have a customer that's on a corner lot, don't just put one sign out, put 2. One on each street, So we just stop signs, stop lights, all those types of things, where there's heavy traffic. I mean, you want more eyeballs on it. They're like mini billboards. So the more you can get out in certain locations, the better.
I always tell people, like, don't put them in a neighborhood entrance. It's going to get pulled right away, but like put it at the stoplight closest to that neighborhood you want to be in, and things like that. What kind of like volume are you guys getting out on average, like say on a monthly basis?
On a monthly basis, we're probably putting between 150 and 200 out.
Okay, so you're doing quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, our sales team's doing them. Every crew's doing them. So, we got a Slack channel, and guys will post up creative spots that they found where they're putting signs in. They'll snap a picture, and the one guy is just like, he like takes them in his car with him, and he'll stop on his drive home and pop them out. Like, that's how committed he is to doing it. So,
and do they just say like house washing and a phone number, or like what does the sign look like for you?
It's our it's our company logo because our company logo says what we do. It's Revive Power Washing.
Yeah, ours is the same, which is good.
Yeah, so easy enough. So it's that, phone number, and website.
Awesome. Yeah, keep it simple.
Yep.
Cool. So besides yard signs, what else are you guys doing marketing wise?
We do door hangers. So every job that our guys are at, they pop they do a 5 around with door hangers. That's the immediate touch. We're doing postcard 5 around drops. So a sequence of.
Is that through Send Gym or?
Yep. Yeah, we use Send Gym for that. And then obviously we're doing, the paid ads online. We've got the Google pay-per-click. We've got the Google LSA. We haven't done Facebook ads. We do Facebook ads for Christmas lights, but we haven't done it for washing. We haven't really cracked the code on it well for washing. We do for the Facebook ads. We don't just do like blanketed ads. We'll do targeted ones just for like certain pockets of our.
Just like, hey, we're here in this neighborhood. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then we'll boost that or something for like 3-4 days. Like, it's not like an extended campaign that we just kind of generic. It's not like Google Ads or LSA where it's just kind of on the whole season. It's more strategic.
Yeah.
So.
This is one of those things that I love asking people about, especially like scaled companies, just to see, like, obviously a lot of the things are the same, but like for us, our biggest thing has been Facebook. Like I ran a report the other day, over the last 5 years, we've done over $2 million from Facebook alone.
Wow.
When you consider like initial people and then, repeats and buying other services and things, overall, it was like 2.2 million. But then looking at you, like you haven't really used Facebook except for maybe for Christmas lights, which it does really do well with Christmas lights. So it's just interesting to see there's more than one way to do it and to do it right.
Yeah.
On your door hangers, do you have like a door hanger team, or is it more just the 5 rounds?
More just the 5 rounds. Our sales team, we do in-person quotes. So our sales team also is out there. If they've got a couple minutes in between, they'll drop a few around where they're doing estimates. But I don't have like a canvassing team or anything like that for the door hangers.
Cool. We just started one this year, so it's to be determined how well it works, but it should crush for us. We're doing about 15,000 flyers a month right now. Started over the last couple months. We're in our slow season though, so July and August are our slowest cleaning months of the year. Yeah. So it's really hard because I don't even want to look at our production as far as like what we're putting out and what we're getting back in because I know it's not good right now. I feel like that's a mistake a lot of people make though, is they want to focus so heavily on like, I put in this dollar amount this month and I got this dollar amount out, and they're not focused on like lifetime value. And it's one of the things I talk about a lot is like specifically with Facebook is like month to month we don't even do that well on Facebook, but we're really good at selling the job, and then we're really good at reservicing it, selling service agreements, selling Christmas lights, and over time the ROI is really, really good. So
yeah.
Anyways, I just feel people, they focus too much on that monthly ROI and not, they don't really understand lifetime value and things, which is why it's important to have,
right.
coach.
Lifetime value is super important to look at. I mean, that's like level, 201 of business, and not, 101. If you can't pay your bills, you're not worried about lifetime value. You're worried about today money, not lifetime value. So you got to get to a certain point where you have sort of a foundational baseline of, okay, I can expect this much revenue coming in every month, and you can breathe. And then it's okay, let's start talking about lifetime value and focusing on that. But I think too, to your point, you'd said about putting out a lot right now in your slow months. People need to understand what their revenue curve is too for their seasons, because I've worked with a lot of people myself too that are like, we're slow. I'm just going to put all the money that we made over the spring season, I'm just going to dump this in marketing because we're slow and we need to fill the schedule. Well, if your customers aren't buying this time of year, you're just lighting that money on fire. You got to be smart about it and strategic about your marketing spend, because it will trend with your revenue curve.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's I've heard this before. I don't know who said it, but something along the lines of like, you can't outspend a slow season. And I tried to do that early because like I moved here. I didn't
I
know.
feel like we all have, right?
Yeah. But we would get into July every year, and I'm like, man, why is the phone not ringing? We need to spend more on Facebook or whatever. And then I realized over time we just need to take our marketing spend down, save our money, and then as soon as like late August, early September hits, we're back to normal. And it's just how it works for us.
Yeah. It's the law of diminishing returns on marketing spend there in those slow seasons. Like you keep pumping money into it, but it's not worth it.
Yeah, and it's going to be different depending on your market. So that's why it is important that you understand your revenue curve. Mine is the opposite of you, probably July, August slow, January, February is okay, but we don't have to shut down like most of the country does.
Yeah.
But in November, we're crushing. December, we do really well. So anyways, so running this $2 million business, Jon, tell me, like, just walk me through what your daily life looks like today. Like, what does a typical day look like for you?
I mean, overall, it's pretty flexible, and that's for me. You know, in the bio, you mentioned about the flexibility and freedom. That was a big thing for me. So, I invested a lot of time on the front end, building the business, putting the systems in place, building our team, putting the right people in place, so that I can have flexibility in my schedule. And for me right now, that is the most important thing. My kids are 15 and about to turn 17, and I know I have a very short window of time left with them before they become adults and go on and do their own thing. So it is extremely important for me right now in this season to be present with them and have as much time as I possibly can. So, for example, my 15-year-old, her and I are going on, just the two of us are going on a trip to northern Michigan next week for 4 days. And like, I'm super pumped about that. I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun trip. We're gonna go exploring and just hang out. And looking back 6-7 years ago, that wouldn't even be on my radar because I was just so buried in the day-to-day stuff. So I think my main focus now, though, to kind of answer your question, is more on the marketing side. Just trying to stay creative on the marketing and what are the offers that we can build out and how can we continue to re-engage our past customers and what that cadence looks like, and getting more systems around that, because that's kind of the last piece of the puzzle, I think, that is the marketing side, because I've kind of done that throughout the years, and that's the one position I haven't hired for yet. So I haven't really fully built out the systems for it, because it's just that's the last piece that still kind of floats in my head.
A lot of it's in your head. Yep, me too.
Yeah. So I have the stuff, right? So and I say that for all the the newer guys who are trying to grow and scale their business, and they throw out the term all the time. Oh, I need systems. I need to build out all my systems. And it's like, when you sit down and look at a list of how many systems your business actually should have, it is so overwhelming and daunting. And it's like and a lot of the people I talk to and work with, they look at this list and they're like, oh, I can do this in like 3 months. And it's like, dude, this took 12 years to I guess technically 7 years to kind of like get it 85-90%, and I'm still not there. So like, give yourself some grace. This is not going to take 3 months. You'll be killing it if you do it in 3 years. Some people can do it faster, but they're still in survival mode in most cases. You're trying to pay the bills, you're trying to stay alive, you're trying to get that profit margin because the margins are so tight. You don't have the time to dedicate to the systems all the time. So I think, but going back, a lot of the time freedom that I have built now is because I put in that time little by little, and it wasn't all at once. I didn't do it all at one shot. It was intentional time over years that I was able to do that, and then also putting the people in place and letting them run the system.
Yeah, that's huge. Just having the right people in the right seats. I think this last year, actually this time last year, we were in Hawaii for a month. And I only did it because I was like, one, we just wanted to do it, but I did it because I was about to like go full into the coaching thing, and I wanted to make sure that like my team had it handled, and they did great. Like things went well, no major problems. Came home with more money than when I left. So that was like kind of my sign that like, okay, we're ready. I'm ready to take a little bit of a step back, still put my foot on the gas, but just take a step back a little bit. Tell me, like, just as we're talking about, you know, what your daily life looks like, do you have any like routines or habits that you use to stay sharp? I'm a big routine guy. Like I have my morning routine. What does that look like for you, Jon?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like, I don't live and die on routines. I like it, but I also like to have a little bit of spontaneity and flexibility. So I do enjoy starting out my day with some sort of exercise. So like this morning I rode on the Peloton. I enjoy that. And then we have one of those, the tonal, resistance exercise things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do either, I'll alternate those usually a couple times a week, and spend the morning just kind of planning my day out. I'll go through my my planner, review my day, and then make sure the rest of the week I have everything in order of what I'm doing, all my appointments, and my assistant helps give me all that information in the morning too, so I'm not having to remember all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But breakfast is a big thing for me. I do intermittent fasting, so the days that I do exercise, I'll eat breakfast, but the days that I don't exercise, I'll usually skip breakfast, and I'll do a little bit of intermittent fasting. It's just something that I've done. It wasn't necessarily, I didn't start it intentionally, but
mm-hmm.
it just kind of worked out, and I felt fine, and it helped me maintain a little bit better, less calories.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not a wake up at 5 a.m. and do an ice bath and sit out and watch the sunrise. I mean, as much as I do love a good sunrise. So anytime we're at the beach, my wife and I are usually out there like, okay, sunrise is at this time. We're getting up 15 minutes early. We're going to walk out. We're going to watch the sunrise. But yeah, I'm always up at 6 a.m. That's kind of even if I don't set an alarm, my body's just, you're up at 6 a.m. So.
Awesome. Well, tell me, you were in Conquer for a while, right? Couple 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
Was that your first like business mentoring coaching experience, or did you have anything before that?
Yeah, I mean, really, that was it. The first, I didn't really have any mentorship or anything like that. Pat Clark sent me a message. It was 2018, I think, and said, "You need to come to Michigan, to Ludington, Michigan, to this automate, grow, sell boot camp thing."
That was the first one, right?
I think that was the first one. Either the first or second. It was the one where they launched Conquer. And
yeah, it might have been the second one. I was at the second one, and
okay.
I think that's when they launched Conquer.
Okay.
But I don't even remember seeing you, or it's been so long now.
I think they did two sessions, if I remember correctly. So maybe you were in the other session.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, that was, he reached out to me, and I respected Pat a lot, what he had built over the years. So I was like, all right, Pat's encouraging me to go, like, we should probably go. So I had to convince my wife to come, and I'm so glad she did, because she was super skeptical. I mean, how Josh and Ashley, plan events, they like to keep things, they don't like to unveil all the secrets and the fun stuff that you're doing, right? So they keep it pretty vague overall. And my wife is the complete opposite. She's like, I need to know details. I need to know where we're going, when we're going to be there, what we're doing, and when we can leave. And she's like, we're going to where in Michigan? Like, this isn't even like a big town. Like, how the heck, we have to fly in and then drive an hour and a half? Like, this is weird. She's like, she kept telling me, and she was jokingly but half serious, telling her friends, like, I'm pretty sure we're going to get off this plane and somebody's going to put a pillowcase on my head and you're never going to see us again. But thankfully she trusted us enough, trusted me enough, I guess, to go. And honestly, that event was the catalyst that changed the trajectory of our business. The people we met there, the relationships we built that we still have to this day, and I mentioned earlier about kind of the opportunity and that whole Roger Bannister moment. Like that was it for me. Seeing these other people in the room that had bigger businesses and were like, at the time in my mind, like they made it. But then also to see other people around me that are in the same spot I am, dealing with the same struggles I was. Like outside of the Facebook groups and that was kind of it. That was the only community I really had, and we all know those Facebook groups can get they can go off the rails pretty quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the launching point for us. And after that, and we got some good people around us in our corner, and we just went boom, boom, growth from there.
Yeah, I'd agree. Something I'm super grateful for is Conquer and things I learned there. I think that was October of 2019.
Yeah.
We were 5-6 months in, hadn't even had a $10,000 month yet. So just being around people thinking bigger, and there's definitely something to be said about the importance of like actually spending money on mentorship, because like you can learn most things you need to learn out on YouTube or wherever, even like listening. Like I give away a lot of stuff on my podcast, a lot of people do, but it's like you don't pay attention to it until you pay for whatever reason. Like,
and there's a level of accountability as well.
Yeah.
Anybody can go out there and just get all this information and have books and notepads worth of all this stuff, but it's the actual implementation of it that is really what gets the results. And sometimes you need that accountability, working with somebody to help push that implementation.
Yeah, so I know now you're working with a handful of people and coaching. Tell me a little bit about that, how that's been, how that looks.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I really love it. That's where I had people pour into me, so I love to be able to give back and help people where I was a couple years back, get to the next level. So we've working with 6 people right now, and I have a whole process we go through from start to finish. We kind of do a snapshot of where they are on day one, review their systems, what they have in place, the kind of self-evaluation on their systems, and then we kind of identify, all right, what's the one thing that's going to move the needle the most for you right now, and we just focus on that. And I've got a lot of resources that we've used in our business that I share as kind of templates and stuff to help them move faster, so they don't have to recreate the wheel. And then then we focus a lot on marketing and sales, knowing their numbers. And I know you talk about that a lot. That's a big deal. Like once you really understand where your money's going and how much you're actually able to keep, that's really a huge foundation. So. And then we get, most of the people I work with one-on-one, and then once a month we get together on a group call, and everybody just shares ideas. And man, the one we did last month was just awesome. Like everybody was just sharing their best marketing idea and like something that is like kind of their superpower. And like I'm sitting here taking a bunch of notes. I'm like, oh man, this is great. Like it was so good. The energy was awesome. So it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. What's your long term, what do you want to do with Revive? What do you want to do with coaching? Do you know yet?
I've been thinking a lot about that lately, and I really don't have a clear answer right now because I'm so focused on this season that I'm in with my kids right now that I don't want it to distract me from the moment that we're in right now. So I'm all about continuing growth on both fronts, and I definitely want to help a lot of people. I want to help more people on the coaching front, but I don't want it to take away from my ability to be with my kids here for the last couple of years. So I've always built Revive. I shouldn't say always, but when I finally kind of put my head down and knew what I was really doing on the business front, you heard a bunch of times build your business so that you have the option to sell it.
Yep.
And I don't ever want that not to be a possibility. I'm not saying that I want to sell it next year or next week or even in 5 years, but I do want the option that if somebody comes in and wants to buy it, they see value in it, and it has a good market value, that when and if I have something else I want to go do, I have the option to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you said that, because people ask me that question. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the end goal is right now. And sometimes I feel like, oh, I should know. I should have my, 10-year vision or whatever. Yeah. But like, things change quickly. I mean, for me, like, reach continues to grow, but my coaching business just took off, and I wasn't expecting it to take off the way it did. So now it's like the money's a little bit different now. So I don't know what the long-term goal is yet. So I'm kind of glad that you said that, because it makes me feel a little bit better about having a plan. But like, the season I'm in is good right now. Things are good, helping a lot of people. So anyways, that's good to hear. Just a couple more things kind of before we wrap up. If you could just give any advice to somebody starting out, or maybe somebody that's at 10K a month, like, what's the biggest piece of advice that you would give?
Man, looking back when I was at that point, if I knew about mentorship or like coaching program, and I'm not just saying this just because you and I are both coaches, but like, I wholeheartedly feel like, it helped me tremendously. So finding something, and even if it's not even a paid thing, like, if you can find a local business owner that you can go to breakfast with, once or twice a month, and just have somebody in your corner that you can ask questions of and that can speak life and wisdom into you, like, find somebody, because that is going to help you tremendously. It's going to help you not touch the hot stove, watch out for that landmine there, don't step on that. And somebody who's been where you want to go. I think that would probably be the best way to summarize it.
Yeah, I think it's like the biggest cheat code I've found in life. And I get what you're saying about, like, oh, it's not just because I'm like a coach now that I'm saying that. I'm the same way. But it's like, it's literally, I've had a coach since we were doing 7K a month, and it's worked. Like, it's always worked. I've always got an ROI out of it. And it's interesting, as I've had different coaches and got like different perspectives, I'm able to pick something from each of them, or pick a few things that I learned from each of them. So it really is like the biggest cheat code. I think that's why I was able to go get to $1 million in 3 years, whereas like maybe somebody who was coaching me, it took them 5 years, but I was just able to shortcut that amount of time and get there faster. So like, you're just buying speed, which is something I'm super grateful for. Just the coaches I've had over the years, being able to be introduced to the Conquer program and meet those guys, and now be able to be like friends with Josh and things like that is a major blessing. So
agreed.
That's all the questions that I have kind of written down as I've been reading these off. Any final words you want to give, words of advice, maybe book recommendations, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
Ooh, book recommendations. From a marketing standpoint, if there's some marketing nerds out there, there's I believe he's actually going to be speaking at the huge convention, so little plug on that. But Marcus Sheridan, he wrote They Ask You Answer a couple years back. He has a newish book out called Endless Customers. I just read that last month and kind of blew my mind. Like, I thought I had a pretty good handle on marketing, and that just really expanded out a lot of things that we could be doing way, way better, and just leveraging and just really setting ourselves apart. So,
awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool book. I'm actually going to be going back and reading that a second time.
He's the pool guy, right?
Yeah. River Pools, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. Awesome. I'm gonna get that on Audible. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on, Jon. Super appreciate it. I think this went pretty well for first time doing an interview.
Yeah, man,
here.
You did great. It was fun.
Lots of gold nuggets and stuff. So we'll wrap up. I'm gonna stop the recording. Let's see.